I signed a deal for millions and millions and millions. Highest paid guy in the history of my position, I think, at the time. Playing with Drew Brees. Come on, baby, this is great. John, thoracic surgeon. We don't know how to tell you this, but you're never playing football ever again. You're going to be rushed into an emergency open heart surgery. And by the way, it's a non-football related injury. You were born with a congenital heart defect, so contract null and void. You're not going to make any money. I got bitter and angry. I'm invincible. This can't happen to me. And in that moment, I sat down and I closed my eyes and I said, the story I tell myself right now is going to dictate whether I'm happy or whether I'm bitter.
What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today, folks, I got a legend in the building, a two-time NFL Pro Bowler, world-class magician, finalist on America's Got Talent, and one of the most powerful storytellers you'll ever hear. But more than all that, he's a guy who's turned pain into purpose, adversity into advantage, and entertainment into entrepreneurship. This man's not just snapping footballs. He's snapping necks with the truth, dropping bombs with his story, and showing the world how to build a brand that lasts. John Dorenbos is here, and we're about to light it up.
Man, this is sick. Thank you for having me, man. I love it.
Dude, thanks for coming in. What are you doing in Vegas right now?
So I do keynote speaking, right? So a company brought me in. I get to tell my life story and the magic I learned along the way. So I was here doing a gig, and a mutual friend hooked us up. So like I said, man, I'm fired up to be here.
Dude, I'm fired up that you're here, man. This is crazy. You got a story. No wonder they have you doing keynotes.
Yeah, man.
You got them all. You do them all over all year long.
Yeah. So it was really cool. Look, if you're in the speaking business, right? There's some names that you want to associate yourself with. So it was pretty cool years ago. Got the call from Tony Robbins. Hey, you want to do these arenas with me? Hell yeah, I do. Look, when I was a kid, and you'll hear my story. When I was a kid, I would shuffle cards, and when I got into magic, it wasn't to be a magician. It was more an escape for me. Like, look, I wish I would have seen, a guitar player or something, and I was just shredding like Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray, but instead I saw a magician, so I was like, I want to do that. But it was the sound of the riffle that quieted the world. And so I'd be a kid, and I'd be shuffling cards in my room. I'd light a candle, turn on Yanni, track number 9, Felista, shuffle all night. But I dreamed of the day I'd be in an arena, and they put the halo light on me, and I would be doing a very specific routine as this kid that I would do. And man, Tony called and then started getting in the speaking world, and I'm doing arenas. And the halo light hit my table, and every time I get choked up, man, I look around going, man, I'm a card shuffling kid from Orange County, California, 20,000 people just listening to the sound of a riffle, man. It's a beautiful thing, baby.
So how old were you about then?
When I first got into it?
Yeah.
Like 13 is when I first got into it.
So you're like a world-class magician.
I mean, I like to look, if you're shuffling cards for 35 years and you're not good, you might want to reconsider what you're spending your time doing, right? So it's what the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours, you put the time in, you're going to be good. And I happen to put my time into that, and it's paid off.
So folks, obviously you guys know who John Dorenbos is, but longest player most consecutive games ever in the history of the game.
With the Philadelphia Eagles.
With the Eagles. Long snapper.
Yeah, man.
So what got you into NFL? Just like,
this is so great. You're gonna love this story. I thought I was a great high school player, but I had no scholarships. I was getting a couple calls to play baseball, but it was a little slow for me. Me personally, I want to be a rock star, but I don't sing, don't dance, don't play an instrument. I wanted to run out of a tunnel in front of 100,000 people. I used to love to hit people. And so football was my way. No scholarships, so I go to Golden West Junior College. And I was like, if I can't play here, I can't play anywhere. So I play a year, amazing. No scholarships, academically eligible. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to put a highlight tape together. This is pre-internet. There's no HD. You got maybe one camera at practice. So I put my highlights on there, and it was good. But then I had a buddy named Nick Heinley. So I was 47, he was 48, both white guys. And he would crush people. Like, I'm talking big hits. So I was like, I'll just put some of his hits on my tape. So I put his highlights on my tape. And I'm like, we got this guy, Tim Thurman, 6'6", long snapper. This dude's a beast, better than I ever was. So I kind of took some of Tim's long snapping and put it on my tape. So I had this highlight tape of 3 people. I had done it for a year in high school. I had the knack, but I wasn't really good. So I sent that tape out. My best friend was at University of Texas, El Paso as a receiver. They needed a long snapper. He shows the tape. The coach was like, this kid's unbelievable. Let's do it. So they called me. We haven't really offered a scholarship to a long snapper before, but we're really excited to have you. You want to come here and play? And I was like, I was hoping to be a linebacker, but they need a long snapper. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. So now I got to figure out how to really long snap. So I took about 2 months, and I went there. I played 3 years. I played a little linebacker, fullback. It was great. In my senior year, hey, man, you have a chance to go to the league snapping. So really no meetings, and you don't really hit anybody, and you get to go play pro. You want to do that? Yes, I do. So long snapping was my way in. And it ended up, man, I played 14 years in the league and had the greatest time of my life.
What happened to the dude that was better than you?
Yeah, so he ended up going to play baseball. I think he went to Cal or something. Yeah, I hadn't talked to him in years. Great dude, but he took the baseball route, and then I think he got like a shoulder injury, and that was it.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
and like he was straight up better than you.
Oh, the guy was money. The guy was like 6'8". I'm 6 foot. You know what I mean? And he was money back then. And then I would like to think that I got to where I was as good as him. I really didn't feel like I was good till I got to my 6th or 7th year in the pros. But like I said, man, what I learned? So I got in with a coach named Andy Reid, and I got to play for him for a long time. And what I figured out in my time is if you show up every day on time, prepared and ready to work, and you got an attitude that's infectious and people want to see you succeed. To me, it's really hard to have success unless people around you want to see you succeed. If you can put yourself in that position, it's going to happen. Might not happen when you want, might not happen how you want, but it'll be with the right people at the right time. And so that was one of those things where Andy Reid gave me an opportunity. If I struggled, he saw something in me and gave me an opportunity. So I got lucky, man, and it worked out.
So you told me earlier that you had a little bit of a traumatic situation when you were young. How old were you?
Yeah, so I was 12, 13 years old. And, as a kid, I had two heroes, man. My mom and my dad. I looked up to both of them. And, my dad coached my Little League teams, was the president of the Little League, took me around town, showed me how to change a tire. My mom volunteered at my school, and my reading comprehension is very slow. I'm a very, very slow learner. And so my mom would do this reading program in the library to kind of help kids like me. And what was really cool is what I learned from my mom at a young age, and it didn't really hit me till I was older, is every one of us, I don't care who you are, I don't care how badass you are, we all have little insecurities that live within us. People know about them. People might not know about them. Maybe they live there forever or they come and go. But you got them and you feel them, and they either affect you or they don't. And what I learned from my mom was how you view yourself, how you look at yourself, and how you talk to yourself. It's the same way you're going to view the world. It's the same way you're going to look at the world. And it's the same way you're going to talk about the world. So you better get it right here so that when you go out there, you can make a difference. And whatever your insecurity is, it's a beautiful thing. Don't shy from it. Don't run from it. Maybe that thing, maybe the reason you don't feel like you belong, maybe the reason you feel like you're an outcast, maybe that's the exact reason the world needs you right now. So figure out how to use it and make the world a better place. And that's what I learned from my mom. So I was 12 and a half, playing across the street at a friend's house, and did not expect to go home to a situation where my father murdered my mother. And it was not good. So fortunately, I didn't see anything. I learned later that he rolled her up and put her in the trunk of his car. We kind of hung out that night. He told me she went for a walk. That night, he repainted the whole garage, drove around, and he ended up turning himself in the next morning. In the state of Washington, first-degree murder is life or the death penalty. Second-degree murder was max penalty 13 years, 8 months. So my guess is he figured that out and said, if I run, it's life or death. If I turn myself in, I do 13-8, I'm out. So he turned himself in, and that was one of those moments where I didn't just lose my mom. That was the moment I lost my mom and my dad. And so my grandparents on my mom's side, and my aunt, they all flew up. We did the trial. And I had to testify against my hero because I went home. So my sister and I, we ended up we went through the most intense therapy you could possibly imagine. And I owe my life to this. I'm so glad that I went through this. And if we would do something hard, the therapist would take us to this cliff in the Puget Sound. And my sister and I would stand on the edge of the cliff, and we would close our eyes and we would open our hands and we would scream for as loud and as long as we could. And what I learned is that I'm an eternal optimist because it's the only way I know how to survive. And so I would close my eyes and I would pretend that the ocean would take away the bad, and my mom would crash a wave of good mojo into me, and she's going to protect me, right? And so one of the things in therapy that we had to do was the therapist wanted my sister and I to view the autopsy photos of my mom. And everybody did not want this to happen. So we show up to the day of the trial, my sister, me, the therapist, my family, and the bailiff says no minors are allowed in court today. And so we couldn't do it. So therapist goes to court. About a week later, he says, hey, you're the youngest minors in the United States to have a court-ordered private viewing of a set of autopsy photos. Let's go. So we go to the DA's office. And again, I'm like 12, 13. My sister's 15. She walks in, puts the folder on the table. I can't believe you're doing this to these kids. She bounces. And man, the therapist said something beautiful, man. He goes, look, We have 3 goals in therapy. Come to terms with your reality, find forgiveness. And when you do that, a little piece of hope or a little piece of happiness might float by you, and your soul will be open enough to see it. And when it floats by you, you grab that puppy and you never let go. This kid, this folder, this is your reality, whether you like it or not. If you look at these pictures and you want to see your dad one day, it'll be for reasons far more powerful than just wanting to know what happened. I can't tell you what it'll be. Maybe he's out. Maybe you got kids. I don't know. But if you look at this, it's going to change your life down the road, because there's nothing he can say to get out of the lies or whatever, because this is it, kid. This is what he did. You want to look. You don't. I just wanted you to have the opportunity because it's your life. And unfortunately, you're going to have to make decisions in your life that are really, really hard, but it should be your decision, not theirs. I'm going to go outside. So sure enough, my sister and I are sitting there and we're sweating, just dripping down, and we start flipping. And it wasn't good, dude. I mean, it was way too many pictures. He used a bench grinder and a sledgehammer, and he hit her way too many times, man. Way too many times. And as I'm looking through these pictures, we're done. I couldn't tell you how long it was. We go to the cliff. We stand there. We open our palms. We scream. And a lot of time goes by, right? And to this day, there's only one picture I can't get out of my head. There's one. And it was my mom's left hand, and she had a bunch of cuts and bruises. I see a light, it flashes. I blink, it flashes. I wake up, I see it. It's this picture that cannot get out of my head. And what I figured out is I have to live my life here. And if I can have it romantic here, then I know I can cope with everything out here. So I have to redefine things in my own world. I have to find motivation in defeat, and I have to give this picture meaning, because every time I see it, it was crushing me. So I told myself that my mom, as she was going down, they said that was her protecting herself. And she was protecting everything she loves. And I was underneath that hand. And so now every time I blink and I see this hand, I think about, man, I have a chance to wake up every day and protect the world I love, to protect the people I love, to protect the beliefs I love. So now I see this hand, and I'm going to say this right now. Shame on me, shame on you, shame on everybody listening if we don't wake up with the opportunity to realize no matter what, it's a great day to be alive. And when you look at your left hand, take time to really think about how you act, think about what you're doing to protect the ones you love, so that we can make this world a great place and hand the reins off to the young pups to do it right. You know, a buddy of mine told me, man, I ended up having we didn't have a daughter. My wife had a daughter. And he's like, if you ain't the man that you want your daughter to marry, you better change the man you are. So no matter what, man, life's hard. Figure it out in your own head. Realize that we have a chance every day to redefine things, to find motivation in defeat. And when you see a struggle in you, when you see something that's just kind of hindering you and it's just haunting you, give it a different meaning. And you keep telling yourself that meaning until one day you believe it. And all of a sudden, now I see that hand, and I know it kind of sounds twisted, but it makes me smile and think of my kid. And that one day, I'm going to go down, and I might put my left hand up, but I'm going to protect everything I love, man.
Dude, I bet you when you do your speaking, you got a room full of tears.
Yeah, it's been a good run, man. You know, if you're different in that world and you've been through a lot and you can kind of entertain, engage, and inspire, look, it's an honor when you bring people through an emotion, right? Every day you should laugh, you should cry, you should reflect. That's a good day. And so if you're different in that industry, you know, you're going to be successful. And I kind of bring something different to the table.
Well, anybody listening, I'm sure, is going to say, how do they book you for speaking?
Yeah, I mean, go to johndorenbos.com. It's just me and my guy, Tim Mooney, and I love it. And if I can help you all out, man, it's rock star. I have a great time doing it.
Well, people always ask me, you know, who do you think I should get to speak this year? I'm going to start saying you.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, look, I've lived a dream life, man. I got to play in the league, and now, you know, we do these conventions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4,000 people, 20,000 people, and like I said, I'm a card shuffling guy, right? And so when I can get in front of these crowds and tell my story through cards, it's rock star, dude. So here's
Is it like a show?
Yeah. So I do 60 to 90, and the tricks. There's no gratuitous trick. Every trick I do. So when I got into magic.
What do you charge?
So I'm like that, you know, 75 to 100K a talk.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we average right.
I get 50 and I don't do anything
great,
like
man.
that.
It's
I go out there and run my pie hole.
Hey,
like I gotta like take a page out of your book.
You know what? Authenticity and vulnerability. When people can look at you. Did you ever see Mike Tyson's one-man show?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I thought, you know.
Did you like it or?
Yeah.
You thought it was okay?
Yeah, it was just okay.
Okay. So,
But I did see authenticity, vulnerability.
okay. Yeah. So that's what I thought was amazing. So when I put my show together and started writing my life story, I had 3 influences: Garth Brooks, Mike Tyson, Carrot Top. Those were the 3 shows that I was like, I want to convey that because that's what I believe. Whether you like his music or not, Garth Brooks, when you go to his show, there is nowhere else he wants to be. You literally feel like he's playing for you.
Yeah.
That connection and being present, that's what an entertainer should be. Mike Tyson, the vulnerability and the authenticity and the honesty, whether you like the guy or not, whether you like the show or not, or you respect that. I want respect. I want people to respect the journey I've been through and how I came out of it. Carrot Top, man, Scotty, good buddy of mine, his use of little sound bites and little music things and like 4 words of a song throughout his show is brilliant. So, I'll do a bit where I shuffle at the table and I stand up and all of a sudden the sound bite, every day I'm shuffling, done. So his use of just using music and visuals to just push a show, phenomenal. And every time you do that, your audience goes, you're constantly lifting them up, So I remember I got into magic more, like I said, as an escape. And I saw this kid when I was younger, and I liked it. He got me into it. I went to Southern California, and I ended up moving in with my aunt about 10 months. We were in foster care for about 10 months. We moved down with my mom's sister. And in Orange County, there's a magician named Ken Sands. He kind of took me under. And then there's a guy named Bill Malone on TV. And he did this trick. It was called Sam the Bellhop in the 654 Club. And you sit at a table and you shuffle a deck of cards and you tell a story and you flip the card as you tell the story. And if a king, and the king walked in, you flip over a king. So the cards make sense. Now, I didn't know how he did it, right? But I had a 13-inch Zenith television and I had a VHS tape and I recorded the world's greatest magic. So I figured I had a deck of cards in new deck order. I knew the king was at 13, 26, 27, and 40. I'll just shuffle these and get the cards I need when I need them. I got into cards not to be a magician. I got into cards because it was the only thing in my life that when I would shuffle cards, I would hear the sound of a riffle and the world quieted, man. The world made sense. I didn't think about my dad going to prison, losing my mom, foster care, moving down to California. There'd be a dark room. I'd go sit in a closet and rock myself trying to find peace. And I would take out a deck of cards. The riffle quieted the world, man. I discovered life through the sound of a riffle. So, you shuffle 35 years, you hope you get decent, And what's funny is I'll meet people and they're like, oh, okay, I'm thinking of a card, name it. And I'm like, no, that's not really the art that I studied, right? I'm a shuffler and a finder. So if somebody says, okay, 2 of hearts, shuffle it to be 31 cards down, you have 10 seconds. I'll get the 2 of hearts, I'll riffle shuffle it, and it'll be 31 cards down in 10 seconds. I studied that art of being able to shuffle and to control. And what's really beautiful is at a young age, I sat there and looked at these cards. I would light a candle, shuffle cards all night. If I could tell a story with these, why can't I tell a story with this? If I could shuffle these to do what I want, why can't I shuffle this to do what I want? And it was the moment where I realized that the story you tell yourself in your own head to get through adversity, that's all the difference in the world, because how you view yourself, how you talk to yourself, it's the same way you're going to view and talk to the world.
I'm going to have to quit dropping bombs every time you say something. Otherwise, it'll just be a constant bomb sound. So first, when you have a show where the music plays at a certain time, how do you know, like, wherever you go, the person's going to play it right, do it right?
So this is great. I would do theater stuff. And what's great is my show worked in theater, casino, and it did in speaking, because it's my life story and the magic learned along the way. I never really wanted to be the magic guy. Doesn't interest me. So one day we're doing this big gig and the production's like, hey, I used to just have a perfect cue remote and I would advance everything myself. And it was in like a deck. I'd have pictures, tell my story, and you hit a button and it would play the music in order. And the guy's like, you should do a cue sheet. I'm like, cool, let's do it. So I had like 150 cues. When I say this, advance it. Da, 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 da. So the show's going on and I'm like, gosh, nothing's happening. And I realized after the show that I probably missed 70% of my own cues that I wrote, because my show goes in a direction, but it's scripted, but we're present, right? So sometimes it's like water, we just go. And so for me, I advance it myself because I don't have an audio guy that knows me, that's been around me long enough to know where we're going. And I just advance it myself and nobody knows the difference.
So they're all in your deck?
Yeah. It's all preset in a deck. And I know the stories I'm going to tell, and I know the one-liners that I'm going to hit. I know the trick I'm going to do that's going to back that up, and I stay in that.
Did anybody help you, or you did it all yourself?
I did it all myself. Yeah, I wrote it myself, figured it out. I'm a Mac guy, so I just use Keynote and just pump that thing up to look as cool as possible. And I just figured it out.
Dude, I need to do stuff like that.
It's cool, man.
I have a story. I tend to almost get rid of my stories. It's the weirdest thing. Like someone said to me, what happened how'd you feel when you hit rock bottom? Because one time I was homeless on the beach in LA. And I said, and I was thinking, because I always try to give real answers. And I sat there for about a 10-second pause, and I said, I don't think I've really hit rock bottom. And he said, well, you were homeless on the beach. And I'm like, yeah, but it was a beach, first of all, and it wasn't really that bad. That's not rock bottom to me. And, they were just, awe-inspired by how my mindset's so wonderful that I could think being homeless wasn't very bad. But I definitely don't have your stories. What would you say? How do I create that? Do you think stories obviously are good, but how do you place the stories? My thought was, because I don't see very many funny speakers.
I'm with you.
And so like, I think when people just bust up the whole time, which I do naturally, I say shit that like just from crowd to crowd and everybody just laughs. But a lot of the times I get, best speaker or man, he was my favorite speaker because I just speak authentically. Mm-hmm. I just don't have a story.
You got a story.
Well, I have one.
We just got to structure it. And one of the very fine lines of speaking is if you talk about authenticity and you go through a struggle, you don't want the audience to feel like they're grieving with you, right? So there's an art to being able to go very deep and get people to reflect. And when you're a speaker, the art is not just to go up and talk about yourself for an hour, to talk about yourself. I need you to reflect on your own life. When you hear the experiences I went through, you should be thinking about you more than me. And oh my gosh, I've been through something similar, maybe not as bad, or it doesn't matter. But like, how did I handle it versus how he handled it? How am I feeling right now? Well, I'm bitter and angry and pissed. Why is he so happy? What did he do that I didn't do? All that's happening back here. And then you got to get a transition that when you go there, you got to bring the audience back up. So for me, when I do a trick, and it's usually a card trick or something, it's upbeat, it's fun, but it's my transition to reiterate a point that I just said, but it's the bridge to get the emotion back up here. We're going to come down here, we're going to hit that emotional state, and then we're going to come back up here. And so it's a fine line of being able to write, feel like, what do you want to say, right? And then we'll figure out how to say it. But what do you stand for? What do you believe in? When people hire you and they leave you, and a company brings you in for two reasons, okay? This is my opinion. They bring you in for two reasons. I'm a sponsor, I got a trade show, right? You're the biggest name in the world, you're the most famous person in the world. I don't care what you do. I just need to get these 3,000 people at 8 a.m. after they went out and got smashed last night. I need to get them in the room, and you're the draw, right? You're going to be there. They just want to get a picture with you. So I'm going to herd these people in the room. And then the only way out is through the trade show that I'm sponsoring. So it's like the milk in the back of the grocery store. I need to get them to walk through, see everything. You're out. You're the bait. Good. Then they'll bring in a speaker that genuinely they want to change the culture of their people. And what's really cool is that in this day and age, more companies are concerned about people than necessarily bottom line when they bring me in. I want to bring you in because I want these people to feel better about their lives. I want them to grow. And I know that if they become better personally, they will become better professionally. So it's this whole world of like, let's actually take care of our employees. And these companies that bring me in, the biggest companies in the world, it's really cool to see the top people say, look, I want to bring you in to try and take care of my people and give them an experience to try and come to terms with their reality, find forgiveness, and reach happiness. You know, the biggest, it's so cool, and it's an emotional world to be in, but like, I'll get off stage and they'll let people backstage and hey man, I haven't talked to my son in 20 years. I left your show. I just called him and we're meeting next week for lunch. You know, my dad raped me. My uncle murdered my sister, like all these crazy stories. And then people are like, you know what? It's been 30 years and I haven't talked to him, and I need to find peace. I need to come to terms. And so, you know, my life, it came full circle, man. When my wife was 8 months pregnant, and I was 38 years old, I had just retired from the NFL. And I remember like it was yesterday, you know, my wife's popping, I got my hand on her belly, and I just stood up and said, babe, there's 3 words I've never said out loud to anybody in my entire life. I've never said, I forgive you. to anyone. I think it's time I go see my dad. And this was the first time in my life where I didn't tell anybody except my wife, my buddy Tim. That was it. Because I knew that there were people in my family that wouldn't agree. And I knew there would be people that would understand. But for the first time, I didn't give a shit whether you agreed or disagreed. I didn't need your pep talk, and I didn't need your reason why you don't think I should. Because I was actually doing something for me, and I actually created a boundary that was more important to me than anything. And so I contacted the NFL. They found out where my dad was living. And I went and sat and had lunch with my dad for 5.5 hours, and I hadn't seen him in 30 years, to gain the courage to say, I forgive you. And a lot of people think it's crazy, and they don't understand it. They don't get it. And the big journey for me was, two people are married. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's somebody you know. They get divorced. One person's like, I'm out of here. Peace out. Hell yeah. Let's go Vegas. Freedom. They never look back, right? The other person in the marriage is looking back, and they're blaming this other person for 5 years. This is why I'm depressed. This is why I'm miserable. This is why I have no money. 10 years later, they haven't talked to this person. 20 years later, they're still talking about the divorce they had 20 years ago, but yet have had no contact with that person. A part of me was that person. Man, I would wake up every day, and I had many times a day, I would think about anger with my dad, betrayal with my dad, vengeance. The man that was supposed to show me trust, loyalty, love, took it all away. Why me? Victimizing, excuses. This was consuming my mind. And all of a sudden, I had a chance when my wife was pregnant that I'm going to be a dad. And this is the moment that I have to make a decision. I can be this much better than where I come from, or I can make excuses. And if I'm a deadbeat dad, the world will probably make excuses for me too and say, oh, if you only knew what he went through. That decision's mine. And what I realized is that moment in time will either define you or refine you as a person. And the only difference between people in this world is the decision they make in that little moment right there and who they want to be. It's an old quote. It's a beauty. The person that says I can and the person that says I can't, they're both right. So I said, babe, I got to go forgive my dad because I want to be the dad I never had. And for me, forgiving my dad, the real internal struggle was I had to forgive myself, which this was a whole new concept for me that emotionally I dove into and learned. I had this huge guilty conscience that my mom up in heaven would be like, you're picking sides and you're going to pick your dad after what he did to me. And for a long time, forgiveness was about winning and losing. It's about, well, if I forgive you, then I'm conceding to you and you're right. And I want to be buddies and it's okay. Let's go live this happy life. Where for me, I learned that forgiveness has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing. And if my ego gets in the way of that, then the only thing I'm going to do is waste more time thinking about somebody that's no longer in my life. For me, forgiving my dad, it was the first symbolic step of somebody who is no longer in my life will no longer affect my life. Somebody who is no longer in my life will no longer have a piece of my soul and a piece of my heart. You will no longer have a piece of my mind, and I will no longer waste my time thinking about things that don't fucking matter. Me forgiving my dad was the first big step, the final, not the first, it was the final step of me finally coming to terms with my reality, finding forgiveness, to get back on a plane, to go home, and to have my wife deliver a daughter. And there was my happiness right there. And for the first time, I felt like this kid didn't ask to be here. And I felt like I was finally me as a whole, that I can give this kid everything I got because I no longer think about bitterness and anger and vengeance. All that time I thought about that, I now think about love and how can I make my daughter self-sufficient and a good person. And it's kind of morbid, but every day I tell my wife that if something happens to me and I'm no longer here, I want to know I did everything I can that our daughter is going to grow up to be a fucking rock star, man. To treat people right, to have self-esteem, to have self-awareness, to have emotional intelligence, to be able to decision make, to be able to kind of like decipher people's opinions and what matters and what doesn't matter. To be able to come to terms with her reality, to be able to find forgiveness and to be able to find happiness. That's my journey as a dad. Me forgiving my dad, I thought would be the hardest thing I ever did. And it ended up being probably the easiest. And it was one of those things where he was still alive. I had a friend that had a situation with her dad. They didn't talk for 30 years. It was actually one of my wife's friends. And then her dad passed and she never got a chance. I didn't want that to be me. And I remember when I saw him, he's a little over here. And in 5.5 hours, I felt everything. I mean, I wanted to punch him right in the face, right? And then I had a moment where I would blink and I just wanted to forget everything and just, for the first time ever, have lunch with my dad. Like, just sit there and like, just hang with my dad. And then you blink and it's like, I felt every emotion imaginable. And on the plane ride, I actually wrote out my goals on a napkin, and it was like a game plan in a game. And it literally said, come to terms with your reality, find forgiveness, lead with the heart, know why you're here, nothing else matters. And at times that I didn't need acceptance. I didn't need an apology. I didn't need to know why. I didn't need to know any of that. And in the moments of the conversation where it would go there, I would just blink and be like, it don't matter, dude. Don't matter. And then finally I just said, hey, look, I forgive you for being lost, and I forgive you for making a really big mistake. And that's the only reason I came here. It's time for me to go. Hey, do you want to hang out? No, I'm good, man. Do you want to? No, I'm good, man. Just know that I'm good. My sister, your daughter, she's good. We're good. We'll see you around. And I realized that it doesn't matter what happens to him. It doesn't matter how he's contributing in this world. It matters what I'm doing. It matters who I am. And I can either be a name on a jersey that kids can hold a sign up and be proud of, or I can be a headline in a newspaper, man. That decision's mine. I chose a name and a sign.
Was he in prison?
No, when I saw him, he had been released. So he was sentenced to 13-8 because that was second degree. That was max penalty. And the difference, right? First degree is premeditated. It means that when it happens, they can prove that you wrote it out. You went and bought all these things and you placed everything. And it was a very calculated, thought out process that's premeditated. Second degree is things happen and you killed somebody. Whether it was an accident, whether it was a fight, it wasn't premeditated. You didn't plan this for months. And so, second degree murder was 13-8. So he's sentenced to 13-8. I think he served around 12 and then he was released. So he'd been out longer than he was in.
Did you ever find out why he did it?
You got his story. I don't believe it. There's a lot of things that even at lunch, I didn't really believe him, but no. I have my own story. And again, you can call it speculation, whatever you want. I think maybe there was an affair. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe my mom caught him or was suspicious, confronted him in the garage. And I think my dad had a lot of stuff going up as a kid. Details, I don't know, but I think he just had a lot of stuff that never dealt with. And it was like that. You bottle it up, well, eventually you're going to pop. And I think it wasn't just that conversation with my mom that made him pop. I think it was a lifelong of decision making and things that happened and experiences that he didn't really maybe come to terms with and just exploded. And it is what it is.
Do you think that anger helped you in sports?
Bro, so freshman year, I'd never played football until my freshman year of high school. And my friend Kevin Johansson was like, dude, you should play football, bro. You're a big kid. I was like this size in high school. And this is just a true story. I go, bro, football's for dorks, dude. I do magic, bro. He's like, he looked at me and he goes, but you can hit that guy and not get in trouble. And I was like, what? That sounds amazing. I had a lot of anger, right? And I would try and hide it and act like the happy kid, but I was hurting, man. So yeah, man, I put pads on and I was a linebacker and I just, oh my God, to be able to hit people in the day, get out all this anger and just frustration and then go home and to be able to shuffle and just enrich my soul. I literally had the best of both worlds. I could be a warrior during the day and like a llama at night, man.
That's freaking crazy. And so all through your NFL career, you had this, anger still. You didn't forgive him till after.
Long time, man. Long time. And it was, there were times that I really wanted to see him, but it was for just curiosity. What does the dude look like? What's he sound like? But nothing where I was going to take time out of my day to go out of the way to find him, to go see him. And when my wife was pregnant, it just hit me like, okay, now I got a reason. And what was beautiful is I remember taking off. I was in Canada performing, and I had to get to Vegas. So I stopped in where he was living, and it was overcast. It was dark. It was raining. Plane lands. I go see him. We're done. I get back on, and I took off. And I kid you not, it was the most beautiful sunset I'd ever seen in my entire life. And we fly a lot, right? So I just remember looking out going, okay, maybe this is my mom saying, you're good, kid. Like, I understand why you had to do it. And I remember before I went to go see my dad, I went to the beach and I looked up and I had to have a conversation with my mom because, like I said, it was about kind of me forgiving me and not feeling guilty about this decision. And I just said, hey, Mom, like, if you want me to be happy, I ain't picking sides. Like, I'm not picking his side. I need to do this for me. And I want to be a dad that I didn't have. And it was almost like I had this acceptance. And what was really cool is when I was flying there, I kind of closed my eyes and I remembered my therapist saying, if you see these pictures of your dad, or if you see these pictures of the autopsy, the reasons you're going to want to go see your dad are far more powerful than just wanting to know what happened. Because when you see him, if you look at these, there's nothing he can say. This is what he did. He didn't just push her down the stairs. You'll know the truth. And it was that moment of like, wow, I'm going to see my dad for far more powerful reasons than just wanting to know what happened. And I did.
These questions I had are pretty stupid now. So I guarantee you that I'll be getting you some, not that you need any, but some speaking gigs, because people ask me all the time.
I love it, man.
I don't even know what your speech is, but I'll bet you it's freaking powerful. And you should raise your fee. I mean, I'm getting 50.
Let's roll, baby.
I was about to raise mine to 100, just only because, you don't always want to do it. Because I have, shit that I'm doing and I don't really want to speak, but I do. But I want to produce a speech, because I always tell people I don't have a speech. I don't have slides.
Well, that might be why you don't want to.
Why?
You don't know what you want to say yet. It's like A Star Is Born, right? There's 12 notes. It's what you have to say. And if right now the world's listening to you, and what you have to say could change the world. You need to get something that you're excited about. You need to get something that when you wake up, you're like, fuck it, man. This is going to change the world. What I have to say is going to change the world for my fucking kids and my grandkids, because this is what I believe and this is where the world needs to go. When we find that, bro, you're going to get a call to go do this, and it's going to be a shot of dopamine you ain't never felt in your entire life, bro. Because it's a whole different world getting in front of a crowd and not just getting a standing ovation, but having a crowd go from rock star intro coming out and just cheering like crazy to absolutely 20,000 people dead quiet, and all you hear are sniffles, and you see people like just reflecting, and then they're cheering, and then they're crying, and then they're laughing, and then when it's all over, you're getting people saying, yo, dude, that just changed my life, bro. It's a calling. It's a powerful thing. And what's really cool is when you do this, you don't have to be political. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to go down any of those lines, because no matter what your religion or your beliefs are, at the end of the day, we're all people trying to figure it out. And there's a lane right down the middle that people need to heal their soul, right? You can believe in whoever you want. You can still treat the world right. You know what I mean?
How do you find what you want to say?
Man. I mean, that's a question for you, my man. I would go look in the mirror, and I would literally talk to myself in the mirror, and I would look in the mirror and say, what do I want people to say about me? Like, what do I believe in? What is something that I want the world to see in me? If I could instill this in my kid, if I can instill this into the world, I've been through something that when people look at me, it's almost like this false sense of confidence, right? Like people look at me and go, oh my gosh, you've been through so much. Like, why are you the happiest person you've ever met? I'm the happiest person I've ever met. Like, what did you do? And it was then that I realized that, okay, what I've been through is not normal. And where I'm at is not normal from where I've been. Mm-hmm. So where did I go and what did I do to get here? Because I want people to live and feel the way I do about life. And so I just started thinking about what are the things I did, the hard things. What is this, the accountability that I had to take? You got to hold yourself more accountable to yourself than anybody will ever have for you.
But did you have the answer? Like when you said, what did I do? Because like when people ask me, what did I do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how I did what I did.
Well, you got to think about.
And also, I don't think I've done anything really yet.
I disagree, bro.
I mean, everybody says that, but I don't think so. Like, I do not put myself in a position of, look what I've done.
Well, hold on. That's ego, right? You don't have to be that guy. You don't have to be the arrogant guy that's like, yeah, man, let's name drop. You know what I mean? All right. Hey. That's not what it's about. But success can still have humility and vulnerability and honesty, right? Being successful isn't tooting your own horn and standing on the pedestal.
Yeah, but what is success? Because if this is it, then I haven't recognized it yet.
Are you happy? Do you enjoy?
I'm very happy.
Do you enjoy what you do?
Yeah.
You got a little money?
Yeah.
Take care of your family?
Sure.
So I believe this. Wealth is not money. Wealth is happiness.
Yeah.
Money is freedom.
Well, don't you think you choose happiness, though?
Oh, man. God dang, he's in the house, baby. Drop a bomb. Drop it. Hey, happiness ain't an emotion, baby. Happiness is a decision.
Yeah, see, that's what I say.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when you're talking about mindset, like that's kind of my message to people, only because it's all really a matter of choice. And when it boils down to it, choice is free will. And free will was given to us. Mm-hmm. And so you can wake up. I always say when I wake up, the first thing I do is choose gratitude. I don't need anything to happen. Just waking up is enough. And then that puts me in gratitude. Gratitude is what I call heavenly energy. And there's heavenly energy and then there's earthly energy. And people are choosing all day long. The problem is they're choosing earthly energy, fear, greed, envy, doubt, confusion, worry, instead of gratitude, courage, abundance, et cetera, et cetera. So all they have to do is realize, man, it's my choice. Why are you choosing this? Just choose this. And then, you're walking around in this heavenly energy, which automatically allows you to connect with people more. And at the end of the day, isn't it all about relationships? You're born, you require relationships or you die. And then when you get ready to die or you're dying, all you care about is relationships. But in the middle, we forget how important they are. So it's like, it's very similar to what you're thinking. When you keep saying this, it's like, that's my message. Kinda, I want people to realize, like, dude, it's all right there. It's all right there.
So two things. One, you wake up every day, you give gratitude. Beautiful. So I wake up every day and I get up and no matter what, I look outside and I say, it's a great day to be alive. So I make these hats, right? And it's life is magic. It's a great day to be alive. And for me, being between two palm trees, man, does life get any better? So give gratitude every day. You want to talk about telling stories and what happens in your own head. So I'm with Philadelphia. I do America's Got Talent. And I did really well. It did well for me. I went back to Philadelphia. I tied the record for most consecutive games played in Eagles history. And then the team said, hey, the next training camp, we want to trade you. Well, you can't trade me. I'm the magic guy, right? I'm the most tenured athlete in the state of Pennsylvania, all pro sports records. Come on, man. And they said, no, it's time. And so I got a little bitter and angry. And no, I'm going to retire an Eagle. Like, I didn't like it. Come to terms, find forgiveness, open happiness. And I learned that with change comes opportunity. We just got to see it, right? So I called over the GM, Howie Roseman. I said, hey, you're trading me? Can't trade me. I'm the magic guy, dude. But just curious. I'm a long snapper. We're like league minimum guys, hired, fired. Like, has there ever been a snapper traded for? And he's like, I don't think so. This is great news, man. We're setting the tone here. We're setting the record. So this is true. So whoever wants me, I'm 38 years old. They're trading for me, right? I wasn't even drafted out of college. I was a free agent. So that means you're going to get something in return. And I literally looked at him. I'm like, what are we doing here? They're going to get me? Are you guys getting like a washer and dryer? Like, what are we doing here? I'm kind of at the end here. They're going to give us a draft pick. A draft pick? So they think I'm worth more now at 38 than I was at 22. Let's go. So they traded me on down to New Orleans. New Orleans gave a draft pick. I was an answer. Unbelievable. All black uniforms, trimming for an agey, pudgy guy. I signed a deal for millions and millions and millions. Highest paid guy in the history of my position, I think, at the time. Indoor stadium, playing with Drew Brees. Come on, baby. This is great. And then when I got traded, I played in a game. The next morning, I had to do a physical. So now I'm at the top of my game. I got this new energy. With trade comes, with change comes opportunity. And in my physical, I do these heart tests. All right, leave me alone. I go back to my locker, getting ready for practice. My phone rings. John, thoracic surgeon, cardiologist here at Louisiana Hospital. Hey, we don't know how to tell you this, but you're never playing football ever again. You're going to be rushed into an emergency open heart surgery. Look, don't drink caffeine, don't laugh, don't lift anything heavy. You just sit there. We're going to be there in minutes. We're on our way. And by the way, it's a non-football related injury. You were born with a congenital heart defect, so contract null and void. You're not going to make any money. And I was like, no, I wanted the money. You know what I mean? And this is not how my career is going to end. Like, I got bitter and angry, right? I'm invincible. This can't happen to me. And I kid you not, man, you want to talk about the story you tell yourself. I take my helmet off and I put it in my locker. And when you look in a helmet, they clean them every day. And you can see what's going on behind you in the reflection. It's like a movie. And Drew Brees walked over and he turned his back and he walked straight out. And all I saw was the name Brees just going off in the distance. And if you ask me, he disappeared like Shoeless Joe Jackson in Field of Dreams. He just like gone. And in that moment, I sat down and I closed my eyes and I said, the story I tell myself right now is going to dictate whether I'm happy or whether I'm bitter. And in that moment, I remember Joe Santaluquido was a reporter in Philadelphia. And it was like day one, I signed with the Eagles in 2006. John? Yeah? Joe, nice to meet you. What's up, man? Hey, I read an article that your mom's best friend, Leslie Moore, sang Wind Beneath My Wings at her funeral. Is that true? Whoa. Yeah, man, didn't really expect that, I go, yeah, I know your story. And the song says, I can fly higher than an eagle because you are the wind beneath my wings. Well, guess what, kid? You're an eagle now. So if you're struggling, just open your wings. My guess is your mom's going to throw some wind under there to get you over the storm. Can't wait to watch you play, man. First time I had thought of that since it happened. So I thought, man, my mom had the wind beneath my wings for a long time. She traded me to New Orleans to have my life saved by a saint. And in the moment I was getting bitter and angry, Drew Brees just happened to walk by and I just saw his name disappearing in my helmet. And I looked up and I said, all right, Mom, I got it. You had the wind beneath my wings, traded me down here to have my life saved by a saint. Are you telling me that sometimes I just need to slow down, maybe step out of the wind and catch a breeze, reevaluate some things and just, this could be the best thing that ever happened to me? I got you. And in changing the story in my head to making it kind of romantic and finding some symbolism in things and making it cool, I told you when I was a kid, I'd look in the mirror and write myself as my own lead character in a movie. Make that movie badass, bro. Make the movie in your own head the greatest movie ever because it might just happen. And then all of a sudden you'll go from being bitter and angry to maybe just putting a little smirk on your face, maybe getting a little laugh, a little pep in the step. And the rest is history, man. I had a 15 and a half hour open heart surgery in recovery for a long time. And I went from being bitter and angry that my career was over and not making the money to all of a sudden realizing how precious it was just to be alive.
Damn. That's heavy duty.
Man.
You just get one heavy duty thing after another.
It was cool, man. Can I do one more, man?
You can stay here all day.
This was something really cool, man. I get out of heart surgery and everybody wants to interview, Real Sports, Ellen, everybody, and, all these questions and what happened and da-da-da. And they all asked me the same two questions. And the first one was, your career just ended, right? You were at the top of your game. You were kind of setting the precedent of just snappers. And it was, do you miss it? Do you miss it? And man, I didn't even have to think twice. When I was a kid, I lived in Seattle. It was Ken Griffey Jr., Jay Buhner, Edgar Martinez. They were my heroes. And when I lost both my parents, the community would donate tickets to the Mariners for me. My 6th grade school teacher would take me to games. And we sat in section 305 of the Kingdom. And I had a sign that says, I love you, Griffey. And I had a glove. I was 13. In my mind, Griffey and Buhner were going to just be hanging out in the outfield. And then all of a sudden they were going to, no. Dorenbos is here? Now? Bring him down here to warm us up. Let's sign him on the Mariners right now. He's going to be our good luck charm. That never happened, right? So I think it was August 14th, my first game, I get picked up by the Buffalo Bills, and I'm running out of the tunnel against the Rams. And when I pick my head up, there's signs that say, we love you, Drew Bledsoe. And then there was this kid leaning over the rail, and it was me as a kid. I wanted to be Griffey my whole life. And I realized in that moment that we have a chance to be for the world with which we wish we had. We have a chance to be this much better than where we come from. And though it was my dream and it didn't happen, now I can be that for that kid and make his dream come true. And instead of living it through my eyes, I'm going to be Ken Griffey Jr. right now. So I picked up a ball and I walked over to this kid and I was like, kid, he goes, holy cow, yeah? I go, I got a big problem, dude. You? What problem could you have? You're the magic guy, you know? Look, man, I can't tell anybody, but I don't think anybody's good enough here to warm me up. Do you think you can help me out? Me? So now I'm on the field with this kid, and I'm playing catch with this kid. And what I realized that this is my moment, right? That if I had never played another game in my life, that moment for me was worth it. So I'm playing catch with this kid. And then it's funny, you start reflecting on all the decisions you made. The broken bones you played with, the torn ligaments, the 6 hernias, the separated shoulders, like all these things. You want a fun one? Let's go to Seattle when it's 40 degrees, pouring rain. You got the migraines and the runs. That's a fun game to play in, right? Let's go, you know? You get in the locker room, and all this is going through my head as I'm playing catch with this kid. You get in the locker room, and you're like, holy cow, man. I mean, awesome. I got the migraine, the runs. Coach, appreciate you, man. We're wearing all whites today, right? Thanks a lot, Tao. So next thing you know, you're playing catch with these kids, and you're reflecting on the journey that you went through. And then it would be done. And I was like, man, that was cool. You want to know what I miss? I played in over 200 games in the NFL, which means I played catch with well over 200 kids. And before every game I played in, I got a kid, and I played catch with him for just a few minutes. And it was my moment of giving gratitude, appreciation. It was my moment of reflecting, of being motivated by coaches that gave me opportunity when I might have been a little too small, a little too short, not fast enough. But it was the moment of grounding yourself. It was the calm before the storm. The game's good, cool. I got friends. It's all good. You know what I miss? I miss playing catch with my 12-year-old soul before every game. And when it got released, and it was cool because people started posting pictures of me playing catch with their kids in these different stadiums. And I believe this, man. Every one of us, that we got this 12-year-old that lives inside of us. The one that thinks anything's possible. The one that, and look, when we were kids, it was a little different. We didn't have the internet. We weren't so overexposed to the evil in the world, right? So never let that little 12-year-old die. Never let that little soul die. Let that be an inspiration to you to make the world a better place. Never forget what it's like to be a kid. Never forget what it's like to look through the eyes of a kid and just be amazed at how cool this world is. So, you know what I miss? I miss playing catch with my 12-year-old self.
That's good. Yeah, I can imagine sitting in an audience, man. You probably have them just frickin' eating out of the palm of your hand, waiting for every single word.
It's fun. And what's cool is, look, I wrote it, right? I wrote the show. So you know the moments. You know where the audience is going to be before they get there. And so to see that journey, there's always like a litmus test, the game within the game, right? I'm very proud to say that I've worked really hard at this, but like people don't walk out. I don't want to see one phone come out. Not one person checks an email, and you're looking around. The only time a phone comes out is when all of a sudden you see 4,000 lights or something going on, So, it's an honor and a privilege to be in front of those people. It's an honor and a privilege for a company to say, hey, you're the one. I need you to rally these people. Can you do it? Hell yeah, I can do it, baby. Let's go. Well, are you ready? Fuck that, man. Am I ready? Stay ready. So you never got to get ready, baby. Let's go.
How many speeches do you do a year?
Yes, we're 50 or 60.
How many do you want to do? 365?
Ooh. I'm at a good number, but the good thing is, conventions book a year out, right? So you're always booking a year out, which is great.
The big ones.
Yeah. But most of the ones I do, we're booking a year out, or 6 months out, or every once in a while, which is, I love it, but hey, so-and-so dropped out, what are you doing? Okay, great. My goal, which we're almost there. We're almost there. I never want to, well, let me rephrase that. My goal is I never want to walk through an airport ever again, right? I want to fly private the rest of my life, not because the seats are more comfortable. It's time, the time you save. So, I'm measuring my career. It's like the little game within the game, right? My career is measured on, okay, how many gigs can I charter to? How many gigs will they fly me private to? That's where I can save time. I don't have to be there 2 or 3 nights, because I'll do a sound check night before, speak in the morning. It's just, so we're like, 40% of them, we can do that, which makes life so much easier. And the more you can do that, then the more you can do and still save time, because like I said, I love being a dad. So though I travel a lot, I'm home a lot. And when I'm home, I'm present, which is really, really cool to be present with my wife and my kid. And, they can travel with me, which is really cool. And we have a lot of fun.
Is that all you do? Speak?
Yeah, so I speak. I wrote a book, and it was The Journey. It's a book called Life is Magic. My buddy did a movie called Radio. He was number 3 on the call sheet. So it was Cuba Gooding Jr., Ed Harris, my buddy Riley Smith. And this was years ago. He's like, bro, and this is before I forgave my dad, before heart surgery. Dude, they need to do a movie on you, man. Your life's amazing. They need to do a movie. And I'm doing this movie called Radio, and there's this dude named Mike Tolan. He's amazing. He's a Philly fan. Like, he's got to do your movie. I had one name on my vision board, Mike Tolan. Never met him, didn't know much about him, but if my buddy Riley stamped him, that's who's going to do it. So years go by, we end up becoming friends. He's done The Last Dance on Netflix about the Bulls. He's done a ton of stuff. The guy's a legend. And then he's like, hey, we should do a movie on you. Have you written a book? I'm like, man, it's hard. It's hard to structure a book. I got a guy. His name's Larry Platt. You do the interviews. He'll write it in your voice. He'll structure it. And if you do that, I'll option the book and we'll do a movie. I'm like, let's go. So we did the movie, we did the book, and the whole journey is it's my life story, the magic along the way to ultimately find forgiveness, come to terms with my reality, find happiness, right? And then he optioned it. We're on the 3rd draft of the script. John Gatins wrote the script. He did Flight, got the Academy nod for Flight. And so now they're literally, this just happened. It's the 3rd draft. It's in a good place. And now they're just meeting with all the studios and they're in that process right now. So we got a couple people we're talking to play me and we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. Wait, can you get your book on Audible?
Yeah. And dude, here's what's a trip. Okay. This is like a Charles Barkley. Did you ever hear the Charles Barkley interview where he went on like this talk show and they quoted his book, right? And he's like, I never said that. And they're like, Charles, it was in your book. He goes, I never read my book. It was like, okay. I had actually never read my book straight through. Like we would do chapters. Like, let's do an interview, chapter 1. Is this accurate? Is this good? Does it sound like, yeah, good, done. But when the whole thing was put together, the last thing I want to do is read about me, right? So I was like, cool, is it everything? Yeah. So they were like, hey, we're going through these voices to do the Audible. What voice do you like? And in my mind, I'm like, why would anybody else read my book but me? Like, that's weird. You guys have professional Audible book readers? Well, I'll just do it. Can't be that hard. Bro, it was like the hardest thing I ever did. I should have read the book before I did the Audible, but the editing, it came out great. So if you get the Audible, you can go to Amazon or anywhere. It's called Life is Magic. It's me reading it, which is kind of cool. People are like, oh my gosh, you read it? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not the greatest reader, but they did a great job and it makes me sound way better than I am.
Well, I'll bet you're going to see a spike.
Cool, man.
In downloads. How can the Bomb Squad help you?
Man, just getting the word out there, right? It's just giving me the opportunity to kind of share my belief on what I think to make the world a better place, to find happiness. And look, you can get the book, be amazing. I got a ton of these hats, man, all different ones. We got the neon ones that are sick. You can go to shop.lifeismagic.com. And, my grandpa used to tell me it's a great day to be alive. So give yourself gratitude. I wear this everywhere. Every morning I wake up, I tell myself it's a great day to be alive and live the movement of sharing the magic and enjoying the world.
Shop.lifeismagic.com. Yeah, man, I'll tell you, buddy, I always get asked, what's your favorite episode? And I'm always, there's a lot of good ones. I don't really know, but this one is now my new fave.
Come on, baby. Let's do this.
That's right.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming in.
Bro, I appreciate you, man. And I'm going to tell you this, been a fan. Your stuff comes across my feed all the time and love what you're doing, man. And I appreciate that you went into this space because there are people listening that and I know you got it. I know you got a great show, but I'm going to reiterate it as on the other side that we're listening and we appreciate it. And keep being you, keep making this world a better place, keep being authentic, keep sharing your point of view, and just, hey man, life is magic, baby. Keep giving gratitude.
Amen. Hey, real quick, what is your faith?
So I am I would say I have a Christian foundation, but I would say I'm more spiritual than religious.
Yeah, me too. But you believe there's a creator?
I do. I do. And I believe, I believe there's a creator, and I believe that the creator is in the form of, if you want to call Jesus or God, but I don't know, for me personally, it's a spiritual energy thing. Yeah. And, but I believe in heaven. I believe there's a place that's better than here. So I would say it's a Christian background with a religious belief. I think, God, I hope this doesn't come out bad. I don't want to alienate a bunch of people, but this is my point of view. It's just the business side of religion is a big turnoff for me.
Yeah.
And I know that isn't it's not an excuse, but it's why I have a Christian background with a very spiritual belief of like, let's take like Christianity and like Avatar, you know what I mean? Where it's the world and you respect the world and you treat the world and the energy of the world. It's kind of like those two meet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. We're very like-minded, you and I. But anyway, folks, listen, you just heard it. You guys got to go follow this guy. Where do they follow you?
John Dorenbos, at John Dorenbos, Instagram, Facebook. That's what I'm on.
That's JON. Guys, go follow him. Go get his book. Go load up on hats. I don't even wear hats. I'm going to go get some.
I'm going to send you some, baby.
I'm going to get some. I'm going to support you.
I love it, man.
Not that you need it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And folks, listen, pay attention. Share this one out. There's people that need to hear it. And until next time, keep it real.